Hi, Rachel Mead, President and founder of Enhanced Prep. Thanks for joining me today while we take a look at this SAT math question that deals with linear equations and no solution. Now, how do I know these are linear equations? Well, the first thing I see is that I just have a single x, right? It's not to a power, so it's not a quadratic. I also want to remember that my standard equation, y equals mx plus b, represents a linear line. And I know that my is equal to my slope, and my b represents my y-intercept. Okay. Now, in this case, it's telling me that B and C are constants. That's just telling me that they represent numbers. It's also telling me that C is greater than 1. We could worry about getting all technical with those components right now, but we don't even know if we need to because we haven't hit our question yet. The next sentence is where our important stuff is. If the equation has no solution, what is the value of B? So the first thing I need to recognize is C doesn't matter. So I'm not paying any attention to that, and I'm not paying any attention to that. This B represents, and this is where it gets a little bit tricky, because it represents our slope, which is the other value in our equation. It's the m. And I need to recognize that it's the m because it's the number directly in front of my x in my standard linear equation. Okay, so this is telling me I'm working on my slope. And if my equation has no solution, well, when do two lines never cross each other? Two lines never cross each other when they're parallel, and parallel lines have the same slope, which means the slope of the two sides of my equations has to be equal to each other. When I distribute my 3 through, I'm going to get bx. Again, I need to ignore my c because it doesn't relate at all. Is going to be equal to negative 25 over x. And this tells me that 3b must be equal to negative 25 over 9 because both of those pieces represent what again? That's right. They represent our slope. So I'm just going to come through here and I'm going to divide by 3. Remember, dividing fractions is so much fun. We get to somersault. So I'm going to reciprocate this 3 on the bottom to be 1 over 3, and then come through and multiply. And when I'm multiplying fractions, I multiply across the top, and I get negative 25, and I multiply across the bottom, and I get 27. So even though this is a grid-in or a free-form response question, we're able to very quickly work through this when we're recognizing, oh yeah, no solution. If I have two linear lines, means they're parallel. I have to set my slopes equal to each other, and I care nothing about my y-intercepts or my other constants in my equation. Freshen up on your rules about your no solution, and you should be able to quickly conquer these questions as well. See you soon.